Oh, okay, so good.
Yep.
Love that. The time is now 7:07, Monday, November 21st, 2022, calling the Ridgewood Board of Education meeting in order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Brogan,
Here.
Mr. Mahmood, absent. Mr. Donnie. Here. Mr. Lumbo, absent. Ms. Quack.
Here, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, advance notice of this evening's meeting has been given to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and the Clerk of the Village of Ridgewood. In addition, notices have been posted in the office of the Board Secretary and in all school buildings. The Ridgewood Board of Education has been meeting in executive session pursuant to NJSA 10:4-12. The minutes of this meeting will be released when the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Welcome, everybody. Please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Dr. Fitz?
I'd like to welcome all people to the education meeting tonight. I just want to continue our conversation about our children. Our school district. Thank you very much. I just want to continue the conversation about our school district. Our school district is doing well, and you're going to see evidence of that tonight. I want to extend the invitation to all citizens and anyone and parents to continue to join me and the president of the Board of Trustees at our monthly meeting. The schedule can be found on the website. We would like to have you come out, visit with us, share your opinions, talk to us about the things that's taking place in the school district. I'm going to ask Jamie to talk a little bit about the job fair. She's working extremely hard to get persons in here to help us to fill vacancies, which we are filling at all of our school levels. Our care parent engagement workshop is being held in the district. It's a wonderful workshop as we look at ways to reduce stress for children in the district. The real presentation will be about children tonight. And Mrs. Morello is going to talk about the presentation and the achievement of students that have received beautiful and nice awards. They are continuing to bring praise and recognition to our school district.
Before that, can we have the Ridgewood High School report? Hi, Ms. Martin, welcome.
Yeah, let her,
Yeah, do you want to,
Yeah.
well, what don't we?
yes, she can just tell them.
She could just, you want to do that quickly?
Yeah.
Because we have time in the superintendent report.
Oh, okay. we can do that.
Yeah, so why don't we have Ms. Martin?
Hi. Right now, the high school is transitioning from the first to second quarter.
Ms. Martin, can you put your microphone a little closer?
Yeah.
Okay, start again.
Okay.
Please.
Right now, the high school is transitioning from first to second quarter, which began on November 14th. The girls varsity soccer team played in the state sectional finals at Keene University on Sunday, November 13th. This is the furthest Ridgewood has ever made it in the tournament, and it was a very exciting game. Up until this point, they were undefeated, and we were all very proud of their record-breaking season. Cross country also wrapped up a great season. Ridgewood became the 6th school in state history to make the state meet of champions 20 times. This year, they finished 12th overall. To celebrate their season, the girls' team had their annual banquet last Thursday. Winter sports are beginning to kick off. Boys varsity hockey, has begun practice and will have their first game against Ramsey on the 29th at the Ice Vault. RHS students have been doing some great work in community service recently. This past week, Ridgewood National Honor Society partnered with the Ridgewood Social Service Association to help out with their Thanksgiving food drive. NHS volunteers helped to organize boxes of donations and stock shelves. Also, the Alps Club assisted with the Somerville book sale. Proceeds from the sale go towards funding local scholarships for Ridgewood students. The Alps volunteers helped to unpack and organize book donations on Thursday, November 10th, and came back the following Sunday to pack up the event. The performing arts and music programs have been very busy lately as well. Last week on Wednesday, the orchestra had their winter concert, and on Thursday, the Maroon and White recital was held. It showcased both musical performances and artworks by talented students in the school. Tonight at 7, the a cappella concert is taking place. The a cappellas, Maroon Men, and Rhapsodies are all performing, as well as RHS's newest group, the A Cappella Academy. Some of the songs tonight will be Rhiannon, Wings, and Send Me On My Way. And looking forward to tomorrow, the Ridgewood Sharing the Arts group will perform. Sharing the Arts connects Ridgewood High School performers to students with disabilities to put on plays and other shows. Lastly, RHS Pizza Club had their second meeting last Thursday, the 17th. Every couple weeks, Pizza Club meets in order to rank slices from local pizza places. It is a long-running and well-loved club at the high school for being a fun and relaxing environment for students to be with their friends while enjoying great food. This past meeting, they ordered from Labella in town, and they had a lot of fun.
Okay, there you go. So hi, my name is Rosalie Morillo, and I am the program manager from Sustainable Jersey for schools. And it is an honor to recognize the 7 Ridgewood schools that have achieved Sustainable Jersey for School certification in 2022. They are part of a cohort of 158 schools that were certified this year. This certification shows the commitment of your district and schools to sustainability. Our view of sustainability encompasses a wide range of issues, from access to healthy water to access to art education. The 3 pillars of sustainability are people, planet, and prosperity. And these are all reflected in Ridgewood's certification applications. I would also like to acknowledge that your district's actions helped the schools achieve 70 points towards their certification. And to put this into perspective, a minimum of 150 points is required for bronze certification. So that's a good amount. So these district actions included school districts foundation, energy efficiency for school facilities, green cleaning equipment, student participation in the arts, and safe routes to school district policy. I would now like to present 2022 plates to the 5 schools that were recertified and plaques to the 2022 plates to the 2 schools that were certified this year for the first time. So without further ado, the first school is Ridgewood High School, which is their 2nd time achieving bronze with 235 points. So Ridgewood. High School.
Thank you so much.
Our second awardee is George Washington Middle School. This is their first time achieving bronze with 225 points. Kids, I love them. Congratulations. Come get it. I want to hug them. I used to be a teacher for 13 years, so I miss them. I miss students. Congratulations. Afterwards, we would like to take pictures on the side. Yes. So next we have Somerville Elementary School, which is a 3rd time bronze winner with 205 points. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Next, we have Orchard Elementary School, which is new, bronze certification with 195 points. So congratulations. Next, we have Ridge Elementary School, which is a 2nd time bronze winner with 185. Congratulations. You guys are a bunch of winners here. Benjamin Franklin Middle School, 2nd time bronze winner with 175 points. Congratulations. Oh, wait, he took it already. Okay, thank you. And lastly, we have Travell. Am I saying it correctly? Travell Elementary School, 2nd time bronze winner with 175 points. Congratulations. Oh, you sure? Okay. So congratulations to all of you, and we really hope that that you continue with the certification process and your dedication to sustainability. Thank you. So guys don't take a pic. Just promise you'll send it to me. My boss wants it.
Just before you depart, I'd like to ask the George Washington students if you could tell us a little bit about this experience from a student perspective. Okay.
And this year, they're the ones who are visionaries, as I call them, not presidents, not, chair people, but visionaries to lead our club. And these three are those visionaries. So hopefully you'll see us later this year or another time with another plaque on there.
Fine, great. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, everybody. Wonderful.
Are there any parents here tonight with us? Would you like to tell us about from your perspective of your child participating in this award and achievement? Oh, you're a different one. Okay, all right. Great. Well, I'd like to thank the entire staff and the school staff, the students for their participation in this project and bringing this kind of recognition to our school district. We are very blessed and we're very fortunate to have this level of participation and recognition for students and for our district. Okay. Yeah, we did the superintendent's report. So Jamie, if you'll fill in the other spots.
Hi, good evening. So we did have our second paraprofessional and substitute recruitment fair on Thursday, November 17th, I think it was, 16th. The days are starting to blend as we get closer to Thanksgiving. Apologies.
November 17th.
The 17th, thank you. So on November 17th, it was very successful. We had many applicants that came, recruits that came. We were able to do some on-site hires for our paraprofessionals as well as our substitute teachers and substitute paraprofessionals. And I am happy to say that we are down to, as of Friday, we were down to 5 paraprofessional openings remaining in the district at this point in time. Of course, that can be ever changing, but as of Friday, and I believe still as of tonight, we still have 5 openings left at this point in time.
That's a big improvement. So thank you.
You're welcome. It's a team effort. So it was really the work of the principals, the special education, administrative team, myself, and the human resources assistants in the office. Really is a team effort. We wouldn't be able to do it if everyone wasn't collaborating and working together. So, and of course, Charlene for her great signs and advertising and getting the word out there.
Yeah, I was seeing those on all the social media. Yes.
We're going a little bit out of order today. Thank you for your patience. We're up to the first comments from the public. The same parameters. You have a 4-minute time limit. There is a clock on the wall that will count down. I'll remind you as we get closer to the 4 minutes. Please address the whole board. We act collectively. If you come up to the podium, please state your name and address for the record. And this is the public comment. It's not a dialogue, so don't be surprised if we don't respond at this juncture. We'll take comments from the floor before going to anyone waiting on the phones. Welcome.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Michael Odell. I'm a parent at Willard Elementary. I want to start by thanking you all for your service to our children and for striving for educational excellence. The reason I'm here today is I have 3 areas of concern associated with the new health and sexual education curriculum that I believe are being overlooked and need to be addressed at the board level. The first issue is the treatment of children who elect to opt out of the new sexual education lessons. My understanding is they will end up being placed in the office, which has a negative perception and could be viewed as them being punished for not participating. This is also not what was presented to the board or the public at the health symposium. As part of the incremental resource allocation to this sexual education, we should allocate resources to providing true learning alternatives in a setting that does not invite the possibility of ridicule of those who choose to opt out. I do not believe the goal of the district is to create a segregated class of students, but that is exactly what the current plan accomplishes. The preference would be for the opt-out students to participate in alternative learning in another classroom rather than the principal's office. This is also more in line with the state standard and guidelines. Additionally, we need clarity on how the district plans to handle parental rights and disclosure of a student's plan to begin a gender transition on school grounds. Within the health symposium discussion, the presenter stated the student would have confidentiality and parents don't have the rights to be informed of a gender transition. However, this is not required by the state and even the state guidance. And that is just what it is. It's just guidance. So the law says they needed guidance. So even within the state guidance, the language is there is no affirmative duty for any school district personnel to notify a student's parent or guardian. However, this is not a restriction. And my expectation as being a parent within Ridgewood is that we hold ourselves to a higher standard. So my question is it the district's position that parental rights do not stretch to the gender transitions? If this is the position of the district and we are going to teach children about gender transitioning alternatives and their options to begin transitioning without the approval of a parent, we should provide full education on the psychological and physical risks involved in transitions and the permanence of these transitions. My base view is the age appropriateness of these lessons is problematic from an intellectual capacity perspective. However, if we are going to operate under the required by the state approach, we should at least stick to full education so the students can evaluate the risk reward before they begin a transition. To the extent a student begins a non-physical transition in school and the district does not intend on informing the parents, it seems appropriate to have a trained psychologist in the district who would evaluate these children and work them through that transition. Is that also something the district plans on instituting? Finally, as we expand the education of gender choice, it can lead to situations where, out of respect for individuals' choice on gender and protecting their rights, we are putting other students' right to a comfortable education setting at risk. For instance, biologically defined males can have the right to dress in the same locker rooms or use the same bathrooms as biologically defined females. There's a clear risk of abuse to this policy. Additionally, it adds incremental sexual abuse risk to the situation. Therefore, what is the district's plan to provide a safe atmosphere for non-transgender students? And how do you address their comfort and psychological preparedness to change or use the same restrooms as biologically defined opposite sex? It seems appropriate that if you are gender fluid or your gender identity is different than your biological sex, you have a locker room or changing rooms that are designated for all gender, which would be the facilities that transgender students utilize. This would provide those students who are uncomfortable changing with the opposite biological sex or using the bathroom in front of the opposite biological sex the option to only do so with their biological sex.
We're up to the 4-minute mark. If
I'll
you
be
could
done
wrap
in
up your-
10 seconds.
Perfect, thank you.
While offering the opportunity of those who are gender fluid or comfortable with changing around all gender and genders to do so as well. I just want to voice these concerns and hope to get dialogue on these questions. And I appreciate you taking the time and further evaluating and providing clarity where necessary. Thank you.
Are there any speakers on the phone? I mean, on the floor, sorry, before we get to any speakers on the phone. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Jason Held, Glenwood Road, Ridgewood, New Jersey. Thanks for all your hard work as always and for the opportunity to speak today. I'm here to discuss a similar subject, more specifically New Jersey LAD, law against discrimination. I do share some of the same concerns as my fellow parent here. More specifically, in regards to the interim commissioner of education's guidance letter, where she defines a safe and supportive environment within a school begins with understanding and respect. I don't think anybody would disagree with this statement. I think that's what we all strive for. However, I think with the more specific guidelines carried throughout this letter, that balance, delicate balance, has become skewed, if not in the immediate future, in the years to come. My issue is with parental rights and a shroud of secrecy that I fear will no doubt arise from this guidance. I will quote the same line in this letter. There is no affirmative duty for any school district personnel, specifically personnel, to notify a student's parent or guardian of the student's gender identity or expression. I believe this eliminates a serious, valuable check and balance between a parent and the welfare of their child. The fact that this says personnel, I'd like to point out that it does not specify any professional designation required for any staff member to discuss such matters with our children. So I would like to know what policies, procedures, designations, qualifications, specifically toward these conversations that may or may not exist between personnel, school personnel, and our children. That said, as far as a physically safe environment, I do agree that if new looser policies and procedures as far as gender, those that are transgender sharing, biologically, bathrooms or restrooms, that there be education and the student faculty, learn how to safeguard themselves. I don't know. There's no specifics as far as policies and procedures at Ridgewood, and that concerns me, especially when you're dealing with adolescents. And that's it for now. More to come, but thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers, any comments from the floor? If anyone wants to speak on the phone, you have to press *9. Okay. And with that, I'm going to close the first public commenting period. Thank you for all those who came to speak. Took notes.
Okay, Madam President, I present the following items from our agenda for your consideration, and I also would like to walk on one item, approval 2022-2023 additional received tuition student paid by parents.
Okay, we'll add that in finance.
Yes.
Yeah, so why don't we do the attendance?
Okay. Attendance at conferences, A.
I second.
Ms. Brogan. Mr. Donning,
Yes.
Ms. Clark,
Yes.
administration. B.
I move B.
I second.
Ms. Brogan, Mr. Donning,
Yes.
Ms. Quack.
Yes.
C, curriculum and instruction.
Uh,
I move curriculum instruction, but I would like to just make a comment and a little concern about the decision made on speech and debate club for this weekend. In the past, we have on occasion had field trips approved after the fact. Not very often, but occasionally does happen. So unfortunately, for the speech and debate group, this was an opportunity missed. So going forward, can we just take a look at that to make sure it doesn't happen again?
I certainly will.
Just to add to that, they are mentioning that they sent their paperwork on October 17th to the Board of Ed office. And if there were problems, they should have been alerted much earlier. And the same parents reached out to me and asked that there is another debate in Princeton in first week of December. And they were hoping that to be on tonight's agenda. And what happens if it's still not on the agenda and there was an email from them around 6:30 that the guidance counselor or the advisor is willing to sign on that, and they can, she's okay going if we are okay with that. So if it's not on the field trip agenda, what happens to that trip? Will they still be able to go or not?
I will explore that in greater detail tomorrow. In terms, if the parent is interested in chaperoning,
Yes.
taking the child to the event, and there's no other expenses associated with it in terms for the board, I will consult with our board attorney and make sure that that's appropriate.
But what about our approval? Will that be held up because of a board approval then?
I want to consult with him to see if I can do it under my auspices, since it does not require anyone from staff to go on this trip.
But there's a whole team of debate students, is there not? Stacy, do you?
In looking at this issue a little bit today, there have been about 20 different trips approved for the debate team. So and there is one, we did not, in my records, there was no form that came through for December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. We do have one on December 9th and 10th. And like I said, there have been 20
It's 9.
trips.
It's 9.
December 9th is not at Princeton, however. I approved a field trip on December 9th and 10th called the Ridge Invitational. I'm not sure where that's taking place. Maybe it's taking place in Princeton, but I did not receive any approval forms for December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The concern about, approving trips after the fact or allowing students to go on trips without approval is the liability issue. That if something were to happen to the students on that trip and it did not go through the proper process, that's an area of concern. And in terms of, parents as chaperones in our policy, I believe all of our trips have to have a teacher in charge, so I'm not sure, this sounds like an unusual situation. I'm not sure exactly, because I still have not received any paperwork for this trip for December 2nd and 3rd. So as Dr. Fitz said, he's going to look into it a little bit further. But considering how many we have approved for debate, I'm uncertain as to why this was the only one that did not have paperwork approved. I mean, I have things approved for debate all the way out into March and April. So it warrants some additional questions to be answered. And like I said, Dr. Fitz has said that he will take the next step to see if there's anything that can be done.
So I think one of the emails that Dr. Fitch shared with me is that this is not a school recognized event. So if we can clarify what's our criteria for school recognized versus not school recognized? My understanding was because it's overnight trip and a chaperone is not available for an overnight trip, it's not a school recognized event, but that should not be a criteria for whether something is a recognized event or not. So at least if you
It's
can.
just the December trip.
Yeah, the December trip to Princeton. So, so I see it as three things. One is the insurance issue, the insurance liability. One is who's paying the fee or the expenses. And the third one is whether the students are excused from school, whether it will be considered as an excused absence and they can make up their time. So there may be some expensive trips that we may not be able to sponsor. There may be some trips where we may not be able to find a chaperone, but in almost all cases, we should be able to mark it as an excuse absence. So that way we are not creating a hurdle for students if they want to go with their parent or if their parents are willing to take the expense. It should be treated as excuse expense because I heard about a different, not a debate trip, but a different trip that a student had to take recently. And I think that was not excused because a chaperone was not available at last minute and they were told that you cannot go and they still went there. So it was not covered, but it was important for the student and that it was not excused by the high school. So I think there should be some clear criteria for that. Why would that not be excused? So those are the three things I think we need to clarify for our students.
It was interesting. Did the form not come through for this weekend in prior to it? I mean, this is an experienced speech and debate coach. So,
That's why I don't quite
Oh,
understand why
okay.
I didn't receive just this one particular trip and it came through at such the last minute, because even as early as September and October, like I said, I have permission, I mean, I have field trip approval forms all the way out until March. So I'm not exactly clear with 20 other events, that have been approved for this group to attend. I'm not sure why the circumstances for this one are different. I'm not sure if this is one that is being attended by the entire team. And if, I'm not, there was some communication back and forth today, but, people are not always available at the time that, and this came up very late, obviously. So I think, as Dr. Fitz said, we're still trying to get to the bottom of the circumstances for this particular one that's coming up this next weekend.
And the one that was missed because the parents the teacher sent an email to the parents saying that they did forward all the paperwork to Board of Ed by October 17th. For the last weekend or yesterday.
they did.
Yeah.
Forward it.
But recently they were notified that the paperwork was not complete.
Okay, so
Okay,
that's a
well, let's
specific
just
case.
take a look at it
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
focusing on opportunities for our students. We want to do the best we can.
So did somebody move? Did you? move?
I did.
Is there a
And I
second?
think it's great that Michael McCreary is coming. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a second?
A second.
Ms. Brogan,
Yes.
Mr. Donning,
Yes.
Ms. Clark,
Yes.
Human Resources appointments.
I move human resources.
I second, I want to make two change revisions to the agenda that was published. The first is on page 5, the Alpine Ski Team Coach. The name is Monses, Monses. Nes, sorry, Mons. That was a typo, our apologies. And then on page 9, the leave of absence page, on the top, for the first name, the unpaid without benefits, that those days should actually be unpaid with benefits. So those are the two edits, and I move with those two edits.
Ms. Brogan,
Yes.
Mr. Donning,
Abstain.
Ms. Clark.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to finance.
Finance. Page 14.
There is a retirement. Do we have a recognition for the 20-year service and retirement or that will be done later?
It's also up to the teacher.
Okay.
Sometimes they don't. Yeah. Do you want to do the walk-in?
Yeah.
Do
this
the
is
addendum?
walk-in. Walk-in for finance. It's the approval 2022, 2023 additional received tuition student paid by parent.
I move finance with the addition of item number 7, approval of the 2022 to 23 additional received tuition student paid by parents.
I second.
Right, I'm at page 16.
Oh, we have to vote.
Ms. Brogan,
Yes.
Mr. Donning,
Yes.
Ms. Clark.
Yes, and I want to recognize a donation, some of the funds received from all the very generous community members. This includes the Ridgewood High School Student Activity Account of $3,481, GW Middle School HSA for over $1,000, the Ridgewood High School HSA for $3,260, Ridgewood High School Alumni Association for $10,000, the Willard HSA, $2,167, which was originally accepted at an earlier meeting. On the Willard HSA, $70,000, which is a gift in kind. Thank you very much for your donations to the community. We appreciate it, and I'm a yes.
Right.
All right, okay,
I'm going to continue to page 16.
yes.
Resolution and motions that's not included in the consent agenda.
All right, there's none.
Okay.
Okay, so now we're on to the bills. Approval of bills. I did review the bills and I present the bills.
I second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, board member announcements.
I just wanted to thank Stacy and Dan Kilday for the community meeting on the health curriculum. Pretty well attended, good conversation, questions were answered, and perhaps if we haven't had an opportunity to reach out to the 2 parents who spoke today, maybe Dan Kilday could reach out to them. I know there is concern, but overall, I thought it was really well done. So thank you for that.
I just want to congratulate all the 7 schools that received the Sustainable Jersey for Schools Bronze Award. The Sustainable Jersey Award, and I think at least one of the schools that did not receive are working for the next year, because I was in the JRC meeting and they mentioned they will be working towards it next year. And it may have just been awareness issue that they were not aware of all the activities that can give them points. So I'm hoping with more advertising next year, we'll maybe have all of these schools getting this award.
Yeah, I want to do 2 things. The first is, as Dr. Fitz mentioned, we did have our first coffee with the superintendent. It was well attended. Thank you for all those who came out to speak and just have a very casual conversation, very open-ended. Some of the comments had to do with school safety, with the math curriculum. And so we're looking into it, but we appreciate the communication, the 2-way communication was really helpful. The schedule of meetings are posted on the website. The next one upcoming is on Monday, December 12th at 1:30 here in the Ed Center. We do it about once a month. We alternate between evening and daytime to make sure we get as much community involvement as possible. Please come. Okay. The second is an update on the superintendent search process. Thank you for all the community members who attended the community forums and filled out the survey. We had a robust participation. We had over 633 members of the entire community participate in the online survey. It is a really good show. So thank you for completing the survey and taking the time to do so. Altogether, including the community forums, we had 775 participants. 633 came from the survey. The majority of the survey did come from the parents and guardians at 485 members of the community of the parents and guardians who filled it out. And the next bracket being 92 certified staff other than admins and teachers group. It included students, the administration. And again, thank you for all the feedback. The results of the survey and the desired characteristics will be posted on our website starting tomorrow, hopefully. We're going to work on it overnight. With that, that will give the board the parameters to now sift through the candidates and have a meaningful discussion based on the input provided by the community on what they want to see in the successful successor superintendent. Some highlights are the community is looking for an engaged leader who is experienced, innovative, and transparent, who provides the following characteristics. It's a strong leader, someone who's decisive and data-driven, a relationship builder, an exceptional communicator. I'm summarizing this. You can read all the details on the website and we'll be sharing it out. A successful candidate will have exemplary executive level educational leadership experience, have or be immediately eligible for a New Jersey School Administrator Certificate, and have a doctoral or terminal degree preferred. Terminal degree meaning if you have a JD, for example. So we had a very discussion on that. And again, the board really appreciates all the input, and it will be on our website to see the results of the survey. Thank you. Board committee.
Yeah, we had a curriculum committee meeting last week. And the minutes are ready. So they should be coming to you by probably the next FYI, I would imagine. But one thing that we did do, and I was grateful to see it, is our math supervisor did a demonstration of IXL with the hope that and her very strong support for putting that into use in grades 6 through 8. We already have it in our elementary schools, if I'm correct on that, right, Stacy? Yeah. So we're extending the contract to do for the middle schools. And it is really a tool that students can use to learn new content, brush up on current content, and use it at home or in school. So I think it will be very helpful. And as we saw from our scores, there was some concern about our middle school math scores, and this was your recommendation. And I see that the math supervisor was highly had used that in a prior district and was very much in favor of moving forward on it. So I hope to see it on our next agenda for approval. So the second thing is back in October, because the policy committee hasn't had an opportunity to meet busy schedules. The last time we met was in July, and we do have policies that are mandated, sent to us from Strauss Esme. And they've been sort of sitting there. To move them forward, I had suggested that we try to put them on to the agenda for a full board discussion, so we could take that off of our plate. Our meeting in November didn't happen, and so I'm hoping that maybe at our next meeting, we might have those policies on for discussion through the whole board. And finally, I do have a concern that some of our committees aren't being shared in a timely manner. Thank you for the minutes for facilities, but those are from September and October. So perhaps we might look towards in the new year, having a more, having the minutes or the notes from committee reasonably shared with the board. I mean, I think reasonable would be a week to have minutes circulated. So that would be my request.
So on the facility side, we had an ad hoc meeting today, not a full facilities meeting, and we reviewed some of the options for our steam-based heating systems, and especially for Willard. And the Aramark team and their HVAC engineer has come up with a solution. I don't know to put exact numbers, but it's not a lot of money compared to what we were going to spend. And that maybe it's, after I speak, Scott can give the exact number and some more details on that. But that will, I don't know if you remember the referendum images and the pictures where we were showing all the pneumatic controls and old systems. So these, for a relatively low cost, we should be able to replace the pneumatic controls and those controls in all of the univents. So once they are replaced in all univents in those classrooms, the univents will start working better. You'll get fresh air from outside. You'll have fresh air dampers open only when needed, because right now, a lot of the times we open them just to bring the fresh air, but they are not more than what they are needed. So they are bringing more fresh air. So they are keeping the rooms more colder. We should be able to, we are hoping that we should be able to solve the Willard issue for next 5 to 10 years. And if that happens, then we can replicate that for other steam-based schools like GW and BF and Somerville. I think those are the other 4 schools where we have steam. So you should be seeing that in FYI soon, and we are hoping the board will approve it and we can get it installed at Willard soon. Scott, do you have anything to add on that?
Does that negate the need to do a replacement? Because we still have pipes that
It basically delays the need for replacement. And when we look for need for replacement, what we have to think about is New Jersey governor's long-term clean energy plan, because what we were proposing in the referendum was to wholesale replace for all schools with hot water. We were saying replace steam with hot water gas system, but that the governor's desire is that by 2050, we have no gas-based heating anywhere. So if we want to go towards that clean energy goal, then when we replace it, we should replace that with a cleaner energy option. And we can, so steam systems, we can extend their life from temperature control perspective. We'll still have a risk of a pipe burst. That's an unknown because those pipes are beyond their life. We have new boilers. And I think one of the Aramark engineers said that you have a latest car's engine, Ferrari engine, and a 1980s car. So the pipes are still old. So that's a risk. But if a pipe bursts, it's an emergency, we fix it. But for a long-term replacement, instead of replacing those steam-based systems, replacing with hot water, we are still using a technology that may not be for a future. So their proposal is to look for green energy, and we can maybe use Hawes and Ridge, or Glen and Ridge, two of the schools which have forced air systems. And those forced air system, all the duct is underground.
Yes.
So those are the schools where we can use as our prototype schools for the clean energy. And for that, they need to discuss with FKA, and it's a longer term discussion. But longer term, I'm still hoping weeks, not several months. But Willard, we want to start in days. So Willard, we want to start soon as the board approves that. So that way we solve a problem, and that can become our prototype for rest of the SEAM schools. And we have comfort with the risk that if a pipe bursts, we have to replace that. And for long-term replacement, we want to go green with VRF, heat pumps, and geothermal.
So is FKA are we gonna engage FKA in
Yes.
doing an evaluation of options?
Use Willard as our template, see if it works. If it works, then we can do Ben Franklin and George Washington, it's the same system. Getting into
Somerville,
other
right?
schools, that'll require FKA with Somerville and so on. So I emailed him today, waiting for a response when he can meet with the energy engineer from Airmark and go from there. But in this week's FYI, you'll have the Willard proposal in there with the cost, about 54,000 and change to do Willard. And that'll give you, by univent, able to control the heat as you want in your room with the thermostat. That's a good intermediate fix till we do a full referendum and replace all the piping and everything else that's down the road. But for now, it'll help cure some of the heating problem to get us forward to do a referendum to fix the grand scale.
And it will allow us to automatically control the temperature.
Correct.
So that should reduce our heating bills. And also because the univents dampers will not be open all the time, that will also help to reduce the heating bill. So this 54,000, part of it will be recoverable just from the heating costs.
Correct.
The staff is able to
They could
adjust
ju-
it, or is it the?
It's thermostat.
custodian?
Once it'd be tied into your thermostat in your room, and that could be adjusted by a teacher, probably 3 to 4 degrees either way. And what's nice is come early spring and summer, you control the cool air coming in from the outside. If you want to circulate the air, that could be adjusted with a damper. So it's got kind of twofold heat and bringing in fresh quality air come spring and summer.
So basically, most of the items that were recommended as part of the referendum for Willard, except transitioning from steam to hot water and replacing the pipes. But all the comfort factors will be addressed here.
Correct.
And the money will be coming from maintenance.
Maintenance
will be
reserve,
coming from
yes.
maintenance.
Oh, great.
So the issue really has always been that the heating system doesn't always go out to the furthest classroom. So we've seen that at BF, you'll have, the further classrooms are cooler, the ones closer by are boiling.
Correct. This will allow those classrooms that are in the beginning of the loop to turn the heat down. So you don't need it. And then that'll allow the further classrooms to get the heat more they want to level it out. That's why Willard's going to be kind of the test pilot, see if it works.
Because
If
we
it
have
works,
one wing that's really had
Right.
troubles.
if it works what we want to, then we can do Ben Franklin and GW and go on from there.
And Aramark's
But Willard's the
engineer
worst one.
is pretty confident that
Yes.
it will solve. So based on his confidence level, I think we were comfortable. If the rest of the board is comfortable, and then we are still not, they had recommended for all 3 schools, but the price tag for other 3 was much higher. So we're just going to do the one first and see if it works for a few months and then do the others.
Yes, because the Ben Franklin was 109 and GW was just over 100 grand.
Right.
And Willard is 54 and change.
And again, in 54 and change, we are fixing more than 20 classrooms,
24.
24. So
Yeah.
it's less than $2,000 per classroom for a lot of comfort and energy savings.
It was a very good meeting today. Yes.
Okay, and we had a finance meeting, and that's where we reviewed the August transfer report. And one of the to-dos, I mean, we got, not to-do, one of the findings was to resolve the cash account with the reserve account. So that would be done by hopefully December, I think, right? It was done in November, so it'll be in the November report.
The November report, yes.
Perfect. Okay, and then it sounds like from the auditor that we're on track to get the audit done earlier because we were the first one on the queue.
That is
And
correct.
I think they're just waiting for one data point to complete the audit and then they will do a presentation publicly.
That's correct.
When will that be?
We're hoping sometime in December, but most likely with the holidays, probably January.
Yeah, January, I think was
Yeah,
what
yeah.
the comfort level
Correct.
was. And I think we did that last year. Okay, so moving on to discussion items.
I have a few.
Okay,
So I did listen into the board meeting, last, at the last board meeting where I heard discussion about the use of unspent monies from, the prior year. And, I just want to be clear about that the regs say that, that should be really done between June 1st and June 30th. So I think we need to keep that on our radar screen for next year because we're out of line with the regs. The other is that and I don't know if there's any downsides to having passed that resolution in November when the regs are pretty clear that you can do it only between June 1st and June 30th.
I spoke to the auditor, as long as it's done before the audit's finalized, you could use it. They'll probably make a recommendation moving forward to have it done in June. That's fine.
And then I do just want to state my reservations on having over $4 million in maintenance reserve when we have identified projects of capital and particularly the window replacements. So we've talked about replacing the windows at Glen and Ridge. They are the original windows and not safety glass. And also at our 1960s schools, Hawes, Travell and Orchard in the older sections. And I know that there had been some leaking. I know they've been trying to fix that. So, but we have identified capital needs and to put that much in maintenance. And I can understand the wish to have a maintenance reserve. And if you wanted to bring it up to where it was last year, which was 2.7, it's now 2.3. Fine, but to put another $2 million into maintenance reserve, I think is excessive. So just wanted to point out that I wasn't here to make that discussion. And there is definitely a difference between a capital project and a maintenance project. And I think we ought to be cognizant of that. There are criteria for capital projects, criteria for maintenance projects, and I think the maintenance reserve does have some restrictions on what you can use it for. So if I'm reading the law right, and correct me if I'm wrong, a district board of education may establish a resolution, a maintenance reserve account to be used to implement required maintenance of the school district's facilities. The district board of education will be prohibited from using the funds for routine or capital maintenance. So just to think about that. That's one. Two, on the late start, hopefully you have the opportunity to watch the webinar featuring our the superintendents who did well, Radnor and Chatham. It's two superintendents that did implement late start. And then the third superintendent was, it was in Princeton when she was principal, that late start came. And I found, I don't know if you got to watch it, Dr. Fitz. I found it really interesting, and I just wanted to highlight a couple of things. none of the districts seem to have any teacher contract reopening. The districts, and when I looked at the calendars for Chatham, which I thought was interesting because he mentioned the earlier start. Their calendar, they just started earlier and they end earlier. They're still at 180 days as we are with 4 snow days. And those 4 snow days, if not used, are returned. So that's for this year, next year. And there doesn't seem to be any major thing. His schedule just adjusted they were starting earlier than we are and ending earlier. So they adjusted their schedule and then he had 2 minutes each period during the day and lunch. So not a big instructional change. When we look at Ridgewood High School, I think we have to consider the fact that we are already with our late start or our enrichment mornings. We have 15 enrichment mornings that are an hour each, and that's 900 minutes during the course of the year. And so you would not need those mornings longer. And that 900 minutes would come back into your system. And if you are starting at 20 after 8 and ending at 3:05, appears that again, it's maybe a slight decrease. I haven't seen schedules, but I'm just percolating on possibilities. So just wanted to bring that up. And I thought this slide, which one of the presenters sent me, was of interest. And it was the effects of more sleep on athletic performance and the effects of less sleep on athletic performance. I just thought it was sort of interesting. So I will just share those with you. And at the October 17th meeting, I had requested that we receive the results from the parent survey that was taken last spring. And I'm hoping that is forthcoming. Our self-evaluation, which the board did pass to approve that we have New Jersey school boards come and present our self-evaluation. I am dismayed that it is scheduled for March 6th, 2023. That seems a long time from October 17th, when we passed the request to have that done. I wondered if we can't revisit that, and make it a little sooner. And finally, is there any movement on world languages for elementary school?
We are not making any additional progress on world language. We've talked about it quite often. We've considered options, we've considered alternatives, but we are not at the point of presenting a formal program of request to you.
Okay. Might we get a request from you?
We
After-
talked about that as recent as today.
Oh, okay.
I will make a request. It will be a modest request based upon the availability of funds to support this initiative.
Thank you.
And Dr. Fitz, on that same lines, I had requested some information. Can you provide? There were some follow-ups.
Yes.
Okay, on the word language, I
Right.
think I've sent 2 or
Yeah.
3 emails on that.
The information requested,
Yes.
we received it and it's under review now and
Okay.
we'll get a reply back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And on the,
Was it more than what we've already seen?
yeah.
Oh.
So, and on the point of late start, I just have 2 inputs that you might want to consider when you are working on that request. One is if we are not starting school earlier and if we are reducing instructional time, how will it impact AP exams and their preparation, because those dates are not changing. Those are in May. So the schools that are starting early and ending early and still doing 180 days, more number of days for those schools are before May AP exams. And if we are starting later, then we are covering the syllabus after the AP exams. So what will be the impact of reduced instruction time on AP exams? And the second one was the 80-minute period, that if we touch the 80-minute period, then how will our special programs in high school work? Because recently we approved one more course that will be run exclusively in the 80-minute period. We have field trips in the 80-minute period for RAP students and CPM students. We have a couple of courses that just run in that class. So how will any change to that 80-minute class impact all of those programs? We have a lot of those specialized programs and classes. So those are the two inputs that if you can consider when you're considering any changes.
Okay. I'd like you to know, we'll be pleased to receive any comments so I can share them with the design team. We meeting periodically, and that we have another meeting coming up, I believe, after Thanksgiving. So if you could just.
Yeah, those two just came to me because based on the
All right.
curriculum meeting and based on today's comment by Ms. Brogan about starting early and ending early.
Okay.
So so those are my two feedback. If you want me to send them in
Yes,
email.
send them to me, and I
Okay.
would like to see, Mrs. Brogan, I'd like to get your comments. That package that you have, send that to me so I can pass it along. I'm trying to get as much information to the design team that says, look, here are the issues. Now, some of you as board members, you've already sent me some information,
Right.
and I've passed that to the design team. So we try and incorporate as much input in the planning and the development of the plan.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was interesting at the High School Home and School Association meeting that I listened to. Dave Bailey said that now with the AP exams coming, using technology or being online, that there's the opportunity that they don't necessarily need to be given in May, which might be a positive. So perhaps Dave might shed a little bit more on that. Now, it's not all of the exams aren't being offered that, but they are moving in that direction. So it's something to consider, and maybe is not the worry that we had.
But
So
my understanding is right after AP exams for high schools, they have the for senior skip day, they have their beach trips plan. So as soon as the AP schedule ends, the high school students have a full calendar. I don't think just for the AP students, we can impact all other high school students by delaying those exams and making any changes to those plans. Those are their long-term, like they plan those days a year or two in advance.
Anything else? So on the later start, they also, some of the principals also spoke at the New Jersey School Board Association down in Atlantic City in October. And there were two highlights. One of them is that of the schools that have implemented Princeton, Chatham, and Iranner, they do not have teacher contracts that have firms opening start day within a calendar, within a school calendar. So they had a lot more flexibility than we did. Because of that, Chatham, when they did later start this fall, their start of the high school was August 25th, 2022. When you think about reimagining the instructional calendar, you do have that data point, and you also have an interesting data point, which was that Montclair Public High School ended on June 28th, 2022. If you look at Montclair High School, they have reverted to the timeframe that we end, which is more towards the mid-June timeframe. But there are certainly some data points out there on what a public calendar of the high school could look like.
but it's all the same number of days.
On August 25th, what happens is by moving to that earlier time, you do address some of the inequities, perhaps, I guess that's a word, but the differences in terms of when we in Ridgewood and most New Jersey-based schools start their AP instruction versus the rest of the United States, some of them, especially in the Midwest and California, they start mid-August, if not earlier. So by the time Ridgewood High School students start AP instruction, we are already 2 to 3 weeks behind. And at the Ridgewood High School HSA meeting, Mr. Bailey did point out that a lot of the high school students are already in the community. They are not on vacation elsewhere because a lot of them are preparing for senior year and they have athletic commitments, and that starts earlier in advance of the official start of the school year in September. So I do want to point that out, that especially we don't know what the Supreme Court decision will be like. We don't know what impact that will have, but the suggestion is that perhaps the traditional metrics may need to be revisited. So in a world where SAT and ACT data may not be used or as prevalent in a test optional world, the advanced placement exams takes a greater weight because the admissions directors, they do need some way to normalize and look at students across the United States and across the United States. So that's something I wanted to share. That was it. So happy Thanksgiving.
I think Atlanta is definitely first week of August.
So that's a challenge for students when you think about advanced placement. So next is the acceptance of minutes. I did have an edit for the executive minutes, but given that perhaps we can table all of the minutes until everyone is back. It's up to you. But I did have an edit that I sent out.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think usually when for minutes, we wait for all
Yeah,
those.
so we'll just table all the minutes and put them for the next.
And
agenda.
I think your minutes for the 7th. I wasn't here, but I saw that you had an executive session prior to the meeting, and then you had an executive session. You continued that executive
Correct.
session
Correct.
at the end of the meeting, and then you came back. So I think the minutes need to reflect that you had it, came back into public, and then went back
Correct.
into exec.
All right, any other business? No, okay, we're on to the second public commenting period. Again, we have a 4-minute time limit. Please address the whole board. We do act collectively. We'll take comments from the floor first. Please state your name and address for the record. If there are any speakers who would like to speak. No? Okay, we'll go to any callers on the phone, and we have several. Okay, caller 523. Caller 523 with last 3 digits, please unmute your microphone. You're on with the board. Caller with last 523. Could you unmute? You're on with the board. Hello? Caller 523, could you unmute your microphone? Hello? You're on with the board. Okay. All right. We can circle back to you.
Hi.
Oh, hi. Who is this? Is this Peter?
It is.
Okay, great. You're on with the board. You have 4 minutes. Thank you. Thanks for your patience.
So, a couple items. One is great to hear about the job fair, and it sounds like progress being made there. So that's great to hear. In regard, the world languages was brought up tonight, but wanted to also hear if there were also any ideas for increasing the PE for the lower schools. As per brought up a few times now, the PE was disproportionate between the high school and the lower schools. It was well under standard for the lower schools. So I'm not sure if there's also been discussion about that. Finally, I don't think I've heard on the meetings when thinking about maintenance items. Has there been discussion about increasing the quality of the filtration for water. And considering that it seems as that, well, the Ridgewood Water has said that we will have the PFAS, PFOS for a number of years now, and the water wasn't that great before. And so things, especially things like the water fountain, maybe it's already occurred and I'm unaware, but some type of a reverse osmosis or some other filtration for those systems to make sure we have a safe water for our children. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, caller 523, you're on with the board. Please unmute your microphone. Could you unmute your microphone? 973 and then the last four digits of 523. Could you please unmute your microphone? We're not able to hear you.
Maybe it was accident.
No.
Or-
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
Thank you very much.
Hello?
Yes, hello.
Hi. Hi, good evening, board members. My name is Heidi Bamus, and I'm an ABA aide in the RISE program at Ridge Elementary. It's come to my attention that tonight you'll be approving a new position at Ridge, substitute for the RISE program. This position will be responsible for filling in when ABA aides or teachers in the 3 classrooms is absent.
Really hard to hear
Let
you.
me give you some background on how our 3 classrooms work at the present time.
Excuse
Each
me,
classroom
ma'am, we're having difficulty hearing you. Could you speak maybe closer to the phone?
Are you hearing me better now?
Yes, if you could start from the beginning, we didn't hear.
Sorry.
Yeah. And we'll
Okay.
restart the clock. If you could start from the very beginning, if you could restart the clock. Thank you.
Thanks. My name is Heidi Bamus, and I'm an ABA aide in the RISE program at Ridge Elementary. It's come to my attention that tonight you will be approving a new position at Ridge, the permanent substitute of the RISE program. This position will be responsible for filling in when ABA aides or one of the 3 teachers in the 3 classrooms is absent. Let me give you some background on how our 3 classrooms work at the present time. Each classroom is understaffed. Teachers are spread thin, doing 2 jobs. They prepare behavior plans and curriculum for the students, as well as doing the work of an aide. In a program designed to be 1-to-1, we are 2-to-1, or sometimes even 3-to-1. The students have limited outside recess time because of this. It's unsafe without full staffing. Between the 3 classes, we work as a team. If one classroom needs extra support, aides will be assigned to help out the other classes. We're all aware of the 19 kids currently in our program, and therefore we are all being used as substitutes. I applaud the district for trying their best in hiring new employees in open aide positions. It's not easy to find people wanting to work with our subset of children. However, I have 2 questions. Why not hire permanent aides first before hiring a substitute? If you hire the permanent aides and keep them healthy and happy, you won't need to hire any substitutes. Secondly, what's your rationale for paying a permanent substitute $6.53 more per hour, amounting to $6,759 more per year based on a school year of 180 days than what you would pay a permanent ABA aide? This is my 3rd year as an ABA aide, and I only make $25.64 per hour. I have been trained and certified yearly. I have a background with all of the children. I can jump in and help when called upon. I leave you with this last question to ponder. Is it proper to hire a new employee, one who, correct me if I'm wrong, is not trained, hasn't worked with our kids, and has no additional certifications? at a rate of $32.17 per hour. That's $6.53 more per hour than you pay a dedicated employee who has worked in RISE for many years. Thank you.
Okay, there's no other speakers on the phone and on the floor. So with that, I'm going to close the second public commenting period. Thank you for all those who spoke.
I just wanted to make one comment, and Dr. Fitz, I think the comment regarding the teacher, Jamie will probably take a look at the discrepancy, or we'll get back by the next meeting, because that will require some research. But the comment about water, I think, is very interesting, because I had just assumed, taken for granted, that our school's water system is already filtrated, and or water is that we are providing to students goes through some filtration process or is checked for purity. I would be interested to know if we spend any money on buying water for our teachers or administrators or guests, or are the leaders also drinking the same water that we are asking students to drink? Those two data points, that whatever water we are providing to our students, are the leaders also drinking that water, or are they bringing from home or buying bottles, or if buying bottles, are we compensating on those in any way? And whether the water that we are providing to students is tested, and when was it tested last?
Okay. I can tell you that we take a look at all of our. Okay. I can tell you that we are paying very close attention to our water filtration systems that we have in the school district now, to make sure that those filters are operating and they're replaced periodically, even before they are needed. I can't speak to the other options, but I'll ask Scott to speak to the other options that are available to staff and to students.
Okay, thank you.
The required lead testing was done over the summer and all the buildings are satisfactory.
No, I think it's not just the lead, it's the POFS or PFOS, that it's plastic particles.
Yeah, I know the speed bottle fillers have filters in them, they're additional. So any new water fountain that's been renovated has filters on it. The old ones I have to find out. I'm pretty sure they do, but I'll double check for you.
Okay. Thank you.
And with that, it's 8:30 p.m. I hereby move that this meeting of the Ridgewood Board of Education be adjourned. Is there a second? All in favor? Happy Thanksgiving.